Today, I want to talk a little bit about something which is quite prominent, especially around January time, where everyone comes out of the woodwork and starts trying to sell you shit. I've had it happen to me before. You've probably had it to you in the past, where you've got a whole bunch of either coaches or consultancy fucking knobheads coming up and just saying, "Oh yeah, cool. So this is how you lose weight," or even more so when you just see on random Instagram just a random fitness influencer trying to tell you a certain way on how to lose weight or how to make progress, and it kind of contradicts what you've known in the past. And it's kind of one of these barriers which a lot of people face in regards to they don't know who's telling the truth, who's telling a lie, who's making shit up, and who to trust. And I understand it completely, I really do, because as I said, I've been in that same position before. When I first started my own fitness journey, there was a lot of information being thrown around, lots of diets being thrown about, and I didn't really understand who was telling the truth and who was telling a lie. So what I've done is, I've kind of created a little bit of a checklist which you can use in order to ensure that you are listening to the right information, and so you can ensure that the person that you're listening to you can trust. I'm not going to be biased by it. I'm not going to say, listen, you can trust me, because at the end of the day, if I was trying to lie to you, then that is something that I'd say you can trust me. So I'm just going to let you decide to yourself whether or not to trust me, okay? So this is the checklist, okay? There's 4 points on this checklist. Firstly, if you don't know whether or not the information that you're getting from someone in regards to weight loss, nutrition, dieting, fat loss, fitness, etc. is truthful or not, then what you need to understand is, have they got credentials? Have they got credentials to enforce what they're saying? Have they got experience in the topic that they're talking about? So for example, are they a qualified personal trainer? Are they a qualified fitness coach? Have they got a sport and exercise science degree? Have they got a nutritional degree? Have they worked in the past with people who, they're trying to say? So for example, they're talking about weight loss. Have they worked with people in the past who have experienced weight loss or struggled with weight loss? If the answer is yes, then move on to the next point. If the answer is no, then at the end of the day, they might not be telling you the truth, or they might just be ignorant of the fact that they might be not telling you the truth. An example of this is there's currently a bodybuilder who's came out of the woodworks, a retired bodybuilder who's now basically shitting on calorie counting, who's trying to promote insulin and trying to promote low GI foods and all that shit, right, basically. And listen, bodybuilders, 100%, they at one point in their lives were applying all the shit that they've been taught to actually get the body that they want. But the first issue with that is, it was a long time ago. This bodybuilder, long time ago. So the things that this guy has been taught can definitely not be applicable there. Because back in the day, they used to think, you know what, in order to get big, in order to get muscly, in order to get to a point where they're competing in bodybuilding contests, they need to work out for 5 hours a day. These days, we understand that that's actually not the case, and that is very detrimental towards one's progress. So, just because there's a bodybuilder that comes out of the woodwork doesn't mean that they're necessarily telling the truth, because that's kind of like saying, asking an F1 driver to create your car or be a mechanic for your car. Sure, they can drive the car really well, but they can't make a car. That's what the mechanics are for. The next thing that you need to look for, if they have got credentials, right, is have they got evidence to back up their claims? And what I mean by that is scientific evidence, peer-reviewed evidence. The third point on the checklist is, have they got any conflict of interest? And what I mean by conflict of interest is, are they currently trying to sell you something? Or are they currently trying to, make you believe something that goes against the grain? What I mean by that is that, as I said, this bodybuilder that's came out of the woodwork, I'm not going to name that. Fuck it, Eddie Abu. I'm not going to lie, he's not going to watch this. Eddie Abu, right? He's going against calorie counting, saying that it's shit, and trying to promote the fact that, looking at foods with low GI, low glycemic index, decently reacts to your insulin, and also cut out sugar completely is best for you, right? But when you look into it, you actually find out that he's actually got an ebook that he's trying to sell you. It's the same with Tim Spector. Tim Spector is trying to stop you from believing that calorie counting is going to help you, and stop believing that calories have anything to do with fat gain and fat loss, and start promoting this app called the Zoe app. And he said that it's really, really good, this Zoe app. It doesn't mean that you need to track your calories, it just gives you a workout based on your blood type or something like that. But then you find out that Tim Spector actually has shares in the Zoe app. So that's a conflict of interest. You know what I mean? So understand that they're probably trying to lead you down a certain road, which probably will not help at all, but it's just the fact that they have a conflict of interest and they're probably trying to sell you something or get you into something which they have a conflict of interest with. Finally, is what they're saying controversial? So this last point, you should actually do first. I should have said this one first. Is it controversial? The reason as to why is because that kind of leads you on to thinking about, is what they're saying true? The majority of people who give you information will try and say something controversial. Now, I'm not going to lie, I try and be controversial. The things that I say tend to be controversial, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm telling a lie. The reason as to why is when you say something controversial, it makes people stop and think. So if I turn around to you right now and say, for example, like, sugar doesn't cause you to be fat, right? That is the truth. Sugar doesn't cause you to be fat. Eating too many calories causes you to be fat. You're going to stop and think, that's different to what I've been told previously. You know what I mean? Certain people in the past have said, oh yeah, sugar makes you fat. Sugar is unhealthy for you. So if you stop and think, that's different, that is going to make you stop and think and start processing the information a bit differently. So that is the first of the 4 points of the checklist that you probably need to look for. Are they being controversial or are they going against the grain? And then go through the other 3. And that is ultimately how you can decide whether or not the information that you're being given is correct or not correct. Are they being controversial? Have they got evidence to back it up? Have they got a conflict of interest? And have they got credentials? They're the 4 points on the checklist. You don't really need to go with them in order, but try and tick them off as and when you go through them, basically. And obviously, if they go against any of these, then you can ideally try and find out whether or not the information that they're spouting to you is right or wrong, and make your own decision based on that. I hope that helped. If you've got any more questions, send them through to my Instagram at k.p_health. If you want any of my free guides, including my Ultimate Eating Out Guide, my 5-ingredient recipe book, and my free alcohol cheat sheet, feel free to email me on my email address, kieran@kphealth.co.uk, and I'll send them through to you, no strings attached. In the meantime, have a lovely rest of your day, have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care.